It's to 9 o'clock here on Morning News Today on ESA. Now, we're going to a topic that many South Africans can identify with, a meddling mother-in-law.
Well, a woman recently wrote to Drum magazine talking about how her engagement broke off because her future mother-in-law continuously asked for money despite earning more than the actual couple combined.
Well, we decided to bring in a relationship expert to help us talk us through how couples can balance their finances and relationships without hurting loved ones.
Well, Paula Quincy is from Attitude Communication. She's with us this morning. Paula, good morning.
Good morning.
And thanks for your time coming in on this freezing morning. So let's talk about mothers-in-law and relationships. And I see, we want to talk about finances. And this article, the woman spoke about that despite the mother-in-law, future mother-in-law earning more than the two of them, her husband or future husband, fiancé, kept trying to find money to give his mother. What is that obligation? I mean, is that a thing of obligation? What is it when it comes to that kind of pull that a mother will have on her son or her daughter?
Yeah, so a frosty topic indeed to go with the weather.
Yeah, that's true.
And I think it's more about expectations.
Yeah.
What are the expectations and how have those expectations either been created or addressed? And it's part of the couple that they need to do firsthand as a couple, because they are a unit, they are a partnership, is to sit down and discuss between them where the boundaries start and stop when it comes to families and finances, and meeting your own family's needs first, and then how much you have left available thereafter to support extended family members.
In some families, there's an expectation from mothers in particular that their sons will look after them forever. So that kind of a competitive rivalry that can create tension comes up when the love of his life is part now of this equation, and she says, no, you must still look after me. How should you manage that? Is it up to the man to say to the mother, listen, I've now got this new unit that I'm going to be creating, put his foot down and clarify the future? Or how should you think they should approach it?
I think one thing we need to remember is that both women play equally important roles in the man's life. For so many years, the mother was the primary caretaker, the primary nurturer, and she got him to where he is now in terms of that person that you fell in love with. So she has done some good. She's not this evil monster we sometimes make them out to be. From the other side, the priority roles have shifted, and this is the man's family. This is where his priorities should lie in terms of this is his new family, and taking care of them should come first. So it's about how does he manage that dynamics with the support of his wife or partner, because when you give them ultimatums, that never works.
Yeah, so talking about it, talking it out, and with the partner, with your fiancé together is one of the best solutions.
Key solution is discuss it between the two of you first, and what you find to be acceptable, and where you are willing to, I don't like to use the word compromise because there's a negative connotation attached to that. You've got to give in or give up, or you're losing something. So I like to use the word contribution. What contribution are we willing to make to benefit us and our relationship?
We together.
We together, the us, the we, the ours.
So, I mean, Paula, this woman in this article, lucky for her, I think she managed to get out early enough because she saw this was a situation that was never going to change, and the man was not playing the part or being strong for her on her behalf. But a lot of women do this because they so want to be accepted into the family. They so want to be accepted and liked by their future mother-in-law or their mother-in-law that they let it ride. And at what point should you realize, I've got a problem, this is not going to change, and realize that I can't get married and then change this later. This is how it's going to be because I've set the precedent. Or can you? Can you change it later?
Well, I think you can, but it's how you approach it. If you've allowed it to happen, there's going to be that precedence and that expectation until you sit down and address that, yes, and it's a basic human trait. We all want to be loved and accepted for who we are. And of course you want to be in your mother-in-law's best books, because you're now looking after her son. But it's all about boundaries. How do you set respectable boundaries that is beneficial to everybody, that is in everybody's best interests? And it's not about choosing sides. And it's about when you start feeling that resentment, when you start feeling
you don't want to see them and you avoid seeing them.
Exactly. Then you know there's a problem, and you need to start doing something about it sooner than later, because if you leave it, it starts festering.
I guess timing is important in that communication as well, because whilst you are dating, you could also address these issues ahead of time before you even put an engagement ring on the finger. You can be saying, this is how I look at things. Communication is important.
And there's lots of little clues before we get married in terms of how, the relationship between the mother and the son, or the daughter and her mother, because it happens on both sides of this situation. But it's more common from a male perspective.
Okay, no, thank you very much.
Paula, manage the situation.
Yeah.
You've got to manage.
Absolutely.
That's Paula Quincy from Attitude Communications, a relationship expert.
Yeah, and you're not alone if you're feeling that way. But for now, let's check.